Hey there, welcome to Nuking It Out. This is Petty Officer Glover. I am here today with my very special guest, Lieutenant Ashley Gray. How's it going, Ashley?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Pretty good. So the video today, Lieutenant Gray here and I go way back, and I hope that, I want to do an interview with her, kind of show everybody some of the different paths that you can take in the Navy. So let's see here. So Lieutenant Gray, let's start off with where did you grow up? Like, where were you before the Navy?
Oh man. Okay. Great question. So before the Navy, okay. Well, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. I didn't spend most of my life there. And that's mainly because I ended up going to boarding school for high school. And then after that, I've been all over the country, After I graduated high school, I went to Atlanta. So I stayed in Atlanta for, I think, 3 or 4 years. I was in college there. I went to Georgia Tech. And I did what most college students do their first couple years, and I didn't study. So I ended up leaving Georgia Tech, and then I went to San Francisco. And I love San Francisco. It was great. I like to say that I'm from there because I am a true Bay Area person at heart. Right? I love California. But when I was there, that's when I joined the Navy. I was working at Banana Republic, and I wasn't really going anywhere with my life. I was a cashier and I was folding clothes, and yeah, it was great, but I didn't really see myself growing, doing things like that. So, and I'd always had, a vision that I would join the Navy one day. So I was like, you know what, let me just rip the Band-Aid off, went to the recruiter's office in Mountain View, and now here I am.
So when you went into the recruiting office, was it just, I'm going to do any job that I can find in the Navy? Did you know about the nuke program?
So not in the beginning. So when I went to the recruiter, I knew I wanted to be in the Navy, and I knew I wanted to do something science related. I didn't necessarily know about the nuke program until I talked to my recruiter. I know some people do research and things online. When they get to their recruiter, they already know, like, I want to be a nuke, or I want to be, this rating or that rating. I really didn't have an idea. He set me up with the ASVAB. I qualified for the nuke program. And he was like, you'd be a really good candidate for this. And it was right up my alley, right? I'm a math person. Math and science is my thing. I'm very procedural, roll left brain, So, and I'm a natural, naturally competitive person, you know what I mean? So I like a good challenge. And I knew that the nuke program was the right program for me after he explained it.
Awesome. So you went through nuke school. How was your experience doing all of that training? We both went through it at different points.
Okay. Some people will tell you a very different story about how they experienced the training pipeline. But I'm a weirdo, and I can tell you right now, and I'm not exaggerating at all, I loved every minute of the training pipeline. It was my calling to be there. I was and I don't want to sound like I'm being arrogant or anything like that, but I had a knack for it. I ate, slept, breathed everything nuclear power, and I excelled in it. I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed it so much, was that I was being challenged. I was picking up the material. I enjoyed staying in the building and studying. I was on 0-0s, and I know I say 0-0s. Those of you who are listening, if you end up being a nuke, you will soon find out what that is. But that's voluntary study hours. And I was always in the building, even on 0-0s. I stayed there. I helped other people do their work. I think maybe if this were a different life or something, I'd be a teacher, because I really did enjoy everything I absorbed in every phase of training, and then helping my colleagues make it as well. So yeah, if you ask me which one particular part was my favorite, I would say prototype. Prototype really was my favorite. I was in I was on the boat. I was standing watch. You know, we're splitting live atoms. All the year and a half of training that came before that, I really got to put everything I learned there to use. I felt accomplished. So definitely prototype was my absolute favorite portion, but there's not one aspect of the training pipeline that I didn't like. And I'm really trying to think here. So
no, that's fine. I mean,
yeah, if somebody comes up at the end of this and I'm like, wait a minute, there's this one part that I really hated, I'll let you know, but I really can't think of one thing.
now, I mean, prototypes were where we met actually, because first you were one of my students, and then you became an instructor.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and that's kind of where, you know, your Navy journey really kind of took a turn, didn't it? Why don't you tell them about that?
Yeah, so at the end of my prototype, the C school, right? You can call it C school, I guess, for nukes. I got picked up State 21, which is a commissioning program for enlisted sailors who do not have a bachelor's degree. And because I didn't finish college before the Navy, and I'd done so well as a nuke up until then, I was a good candidate for State 21 and I got chosen. So naturally, based on where I graduated, top of my class, I got first pick of orders. I decided to stay on and be a junior staff instructor on the MTS 635 in Charleston. And I was a staff instructor up until the time that I had to go through the pipeline and earn my commission. And on that end, if I could just say something about that, I kind of knew when I joined the Navy that I wanted to be an officer. I knew that I would do well as a nuke, but I knew that if there were any opportunity for me to become an officer at some point, I wanted to do everything I could to set myself up for that experience. And I wanted to do as much as I could early and start early and build that track record so that I had like a long record of sustained superior performance. So it was kind of sad leaving prototype because I really did enjoy being a nuke, but it was my ultimate goal to be an officer, and I really pushed for that. So yeah, those of you out there, if you're in A school, there are people who were in A school that got picked up to be officer. I waited until I was already a third class petty officer to even apply. You know, I was already done with my C school. I was, you know, at my shore command doing work. That's when I applied, right? I guess what I have to say there is that State 21 takes all kinds, right? If you have the aptitude and you have the drive, definitely apply for it. I got my bachelor's degree finally, right? I went to University of Arizona and got a degree in math, and that was all on the Navy's dime. I have to pay a cent. I got my regular pay. I got to keep my TRICARE, got to keep my BAH, and the Navy paid for my school on top of all of that. Really couldn't ask for a better experience, and I'm really grateful that I got that opportunity.
Now, you got done with school, you got your bachelor's degree, and you're now an ensign Gray. So where did you finally get to go to C2?
Okay, so when I became an ensign, I got lucky, right? And I wouldn't say lucky, but I did really well in school. So when you graduate, you get to select your ship. And they do that for ensigns, I think, to kind of get them excited about going to the fleet. And I was like number 50 or 40 something out of like hundreds of people. So I got to pick a ship, and I knew I wanted to go overseas. So I picked a ship and rode to Spain. And let me tell you, Spain was life-changing. I'd never left the United States. And I know people here are like, oh, I go to Malta for Christmas every year. Like, okay, great. But like, I'd never left the United States ever before joining the Navy. And my first ship was home ported, in Spain, right? It was on the beach, you know, it was in paradise. It was in the Med. It was always warm. The weather was always great. I took every advantage that I could of liberty there. You know, like Ryanair flights were super cheap. Our deployments were awesome. I don't know a lot of people that can say their deployments were awesome. Our deployments were awesome. We went to Greece. We went to countries that I'd probably never go to on my own, right? I saw some things and got to do some things with other countries that I would never do on my own ever. And that was all thanks to the Navy and that experience and that opportunity for me to get stationed overseas. So yeah, I would say out of all the ships, out of all the experiences in the fleet, and I don't have many, right? I have prototype and then I have 2 shore tours. My ensign tour was probably the most fun one, just because of what I got to experience. So, yeah.
So what was your actual job when you got to the ship?
Okay, so I wasn't a nuke. So I just want to clarify, when I got picked up to A-21, I opted to be a conventional surface warfare officer. There are some reasons for that. One of the reasons is that you get better ports. Can I say that?
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, it's
Okay.
you know, I mean, it's the big thing with it is as a surface warfare officer is that you have a wider range. I mean, nukes, we go on aircraft carriers or we go on submarines. And, you know, I mean, aircraft carriers huge. So for those of you who don't realize it, one of the big things that limits aircraft carriers as far as where they can go is the infrastructure. Not every site that you're going to pull into has room for 5,000 people to roll in to go on Liberty. They don't have the power supply, or they don't have the fresh water or the logistical support to have a carrier go there. And there's nothing wrong with carriers, because the practical upshot of a carrier is that you can take leave off those things and fly off.
Yeah, exactly. That is a bonus, right? Let me tell you, that's one of the many bonuses of being on a carrier. The food is better too. I said that. But it's easier when you're on a small ship that doesn't have really more than 300, 250, 300 people on it. You can go practically anywhere, right? You're not really limited by a whole bunch of things. So I ended up being a plain surface warfare officer, not a nuke designator. And I, let's see. Can you repeat the question you asked me? Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. So no, I was just asking kind of like, what was your job like day to day on the ship?
Oh, right. Okay. So my day-to-day job, I was a division officer, right? And my division was combat gunnery, or CG division, right? So I had all of the non-Aegis fire controlmen and the gunner's mates, and we were in charge of making sure all of our guns worked. My personal job was making sure we had full accountability of all the ship's ammo. It was not an easy job for an ensign, but I think they give you jobs that are sort of tough and challenging to build character. And the best part was that my division had my back 100%. They helped me do some of the tasks that I wasn't super great at until I got good at them, right? They had the experience, and that's the relationship you'll build with your enlisted sailors as an officer, is they have experience, you don't, right? Officers that go in there and they say, you know, it's my ship, my rules, they're really kind of missing the point. They're missing an opportunity to learn a little bit about the job from the people who have been doing it the longest, right? So my day-to-day job was a little tedious, but I did have the support of my division kind of help me get through it. When we were underway, my day-to-day job was standing watch on the bridge as the officer of the deck, or in combat as the watch officer. That can get a little boring. But when you're on an independent deployer like we were, you do a lot of national tasking, things do get interesting, and you do some really cool stuff. So I would say my day-to-day was pretty routine, right? You wake up, you go stand watch, you do some admin, you go to some meetings at the end of the day, you eat, sleep. But you know, you do have social interaction. They do have games for the whole ship. They got, my ship had karaoke, right? We had golf on the flight deck. Like there's a lot of fun things that they set up for us. So even if the day-to-day does get mundane, trust me when I say there will be exciting times underway. I won't say more than that. And then they do build some fun in there for everybody. So
That's awesome. So how long were you on your ship out of Rota, and then where did you go from there?
I was on that ship for about 18 months. And after that, I selected orders to be the damage control assistant on USS Kidd, which is in Everett, Washington now. And that tour was harder. I'm not going to say anything bad about ships based in the U.S., but I don't think their tours are as fun. I think they kind of go to like one or two places and they kind of just hang out. And not to say that being on a ship in Rota was a booze cruise, right? It wasn't all fun and games, right? Obviously not. I'm not saying that at all, but it was a lot less interesting on the second ship just because of where we went. There wasn't a whole lot going on there, and there wasn't a whole lot to do. There wasn't a whole lot to watch. But that's just sometimes how it is, right? Sometimes it's fun, and sometimes it can get boring. But you know what? Let me tell you, boring does not mean bad. Boring means we're doing our job. Boring means there's no conflict. Boring means nothing's popping off. We're not getting ready to fight anybody. I'll take boring any day if it means, we get to all come home safely. So, yeah.
So you got done with your second tour, and then you did some more education, didn't you?
Yes. So I thought about what I was doing on the ship. I really missed the math and science aspect of being a nuke. And I thought about it for a while, and I was like, I really want to get back into the math and science arena. And, maybe I can find some opportunities out in the civilian world to do that. And because of my background in the Navy, I have the leadership skills. Certainly have the training. I thought that, I would take a gamble and see what opportunities I could find as a civilian, utilizing what I learned in the Navy. So I prepared myself for the transition by going online to get my master's degree in computer science. There's a great program. Those of you who are looking for online computer science degree, Boston University has one of the top computer science programs in the nation, and it can be done completely online. The cost is pretty good. It wasn't horrible paying for that, but I also had Navy tuition assistance, which is something you can use while you're on active duty. You can't use your GI Bill on active duty. You have to wait till you're separated to use that, or be in a certain amount of years to get full benefits. So the Navy offered, at that time, they offered tuition assistance, which paid a good chunk of my tuition and got me through grad school. And I'm not going to say it was definitely not easy being on deployment with point-to-point internet, and the internet's going down every so often for a variety of reasons. You kind of have to plan your life around the Navy. You have to be present for your current job, but at the same time, find a way to make your goals a reality. And I think that's what I learned when I was going to grad school on the ship was, how can I continue to excel at the job that I'm doing and still help myself, right? And still set myself up for success. Definitely wasn't easy, but the Navy also helped me through that. And I will say that was a great tool to have, that tuition assistance, to be able to go to grad school while I was on deployment. So.
Things you never thought you'd say. Grad school on deployment.
Yeah, not easy, not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
So now that you are, you've transitioned to the reserves, right?
Yes.
So where do you think you're going to go with your career next? You know, the civilian side, the military side, how those are going to mesh?
Okay, that's a good question. So I'll start off by saying what I do right now. So right now I am the assistant OIC of an operational support unit in DC. And I know that's it says assistant, right? But I am the unit commander. That's just the name of the title. The title just happens to be assistant because I belong under an umbrella command, and that UIC is my reporting senior. So I manage a command of about 80 to 90 sailors. I didn't think I'd be in a command position this early as a lieutenant. But the good thing about the reserves is that it will fast track you to leadership positions if you are looking to be fast tracked, if you're looking for command, if you're looking for a quick path to retirement, if you're looking for, a way to get back to your community while you go home every day to your family and maybe do a civilian job or something that maybe isn't possible in the active duty side of the Navy. You can still participate and be a sailor and be a member of the armed forces as a reservist. And I think I like the flexibility and being able to pursue the opportunities I want to pursue outside of the Navy, and then still say, put on that uniform every weekend and then get right back into my comfort zone, right back in the saddle. I love that amount of flexibility. I think this is something I may retire from. I'm about 10 years in now, if you count active duty time, and that 10 years has flown by, right? I can see myself doing another 10. You never know where the future is going to take you, but I will say right now that I do want to continue with the reserves, and I do want to continue seeking more leadership positions, right? And I want to continue helping sailors help themselves and pushing them to be the best people they can be, so that we can give back to our country the best military personnel we can give them.
Awesome. All right, so we got a couple minutes left. So now it's my favorite time. It's lightning round time.
Oh, no.
These are, really easy questions. Don't feel too pressured. Just answer, quick, fast, and in a hurry. All right. Favorite underway snack?
Peanut butter.
Most accurate Navy movie?
Oh, Groundhog Day.
First thing you do when you got home from a deployment?
Sleep.
Guilty pleasure song?
Look up Prima Donna Girl.
I'm going to have to now. Favorite meal on board the ship?
Say again?
Favorite meal that you had on the ship?
Oh, chicken tocino. So good.
Okay. Best port call?
Oh, Odessa, Ukraine.
Really? Huh.
Yes. Go to Odessa if you can. Good luck going to Ukraine, but best port visit ever.
Worst port call?
Oh, where do we go in Oman? Dukum.
Gotcha.
Dukum.
Secret talent?
Oof. Secret talent.
Dancing?
I don't know. Dancing is a secret. That's something I do openly. Oh, I have a photographic memory. Is that really like a talent?
I don't know. It's impressive. Worst gift you ever got?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really get bad gifts. Gifts are so nice. You know, when someone gives you something, it's just a nice thing.
All right, last one. And this one's not quite lightning round worthy, but still important. What would you tell 18-year-old you? What advice would you give 18-year-old you?
I would have told 18-year-old me to focus on my future, put my future first over social interaction. And I would have said, study harder. And I would have said, if you want to join the Navy, do not wait until you're in your early 20s to do it. Do it now. I wish I had joined earlier. You know, I think if I had joined when I was 18, obviously I'd be a lot younger right now, right? But I think I would be set up a little better. I would have been kind of in the same age group as a lot of my peers. And I didn't really hinder anything, you know, me joining when I was 22, 23 years old. But, you know, the camaraderie is everything in the Navy. Yeah, I would have joined a lot earlier. If I had known I would have had the experiences that I had, I would not have waited to take advantage of that. So.
Awesome. Awesome. So that's it for today. Thank you again, Lieutenant Ashley Gray, for agreeing to sit down with me and do this. I know I did not give you much of a choice. This has been Pastor Glover with Nuking It Out. As always, if you want more information, talk to your local Navy recruiter. And, of course, follow me on Instagram at EMN1_Glover. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Lieutenant Gray. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.